practice? Look, bro, what do y'all be doing at practice? Stephanie White, what is this team doing at practice? The Indiana Fever look like absolute garbage today versus the piss-poor Dallas Wings, who are absolute.
The Indiana Fever's 95-80 preseason loss to the Dallas Wings was not just another meaningless preseason defeat. It was a loud and dangerous warning sign for the entire franchise. While mainstream sports media tried to frame the game as a simple team loss, the actual box score and game flow revealed a completely different story. This game exposed two massive realities at the same time. First, Caitlin Clark showed once again why she is already one of the most dangerous offensive players in basketball. Second, the Fever's coaching decisions, roster weaknesses, and lack of depth were brutally exposed on national television. Clark looked like a generational superstar operating at an elite level, but the system around her completely collapsed. This was not just basketball drama. It was a full organizational reality check. The Fever entered this game with huge expectations, but what fans witnessed was a roster that still looks unfinished, unprepared, and overly dependent on one player to carry the entire offensive structure. From the opening minutes of the game, Caitlin Clark completely controlled the pace and energy of the offense. She attacked the Dallas defense aggressively, played with confidence, and looked far more comfortable than she had in earlier preseason action. In the first quarter alone, Clark exploded for 14 points while shooting 4 of 5 from the field and adding 2 assists. Her shot selection was efficient, her court vision was elite, and her decision-making speed overwhelmed the defense. By halftime, she had already scored 19 points on 9 of 12 shooting while knocking down multiple three-pointers and creating offense almost every possession she touched the ball. Clark also drew 13 free throw attempts and calmly converted 11 of them, proving once again that she can score from all 3 levels: beyond the arc, in transition, and through physical contact inside the lane. She wasn't just putting up numbers. She was controlling the geometry of the game. Every defensive rotation from Dallas was reacting to her presence. Every fast break started because of her processing speed. Every offensive set looked more dangerous when the ball was in her hands. It was the type of performance fans expect from an MVP candidate, and she delivered all of it in only 16 minutes of action. That is where the biggest controversy of the night began. Despite Clark dominating the game offensively, head coach Stephanie White kept her on strict preseason minute restrictions. Clark finished with 21 points in only 16 minutes, meaning she was scoring at an incredible rate of more than 1 point per minute. If projected across a normal starter's workload of 30 to 35 minutes, she could realistically have finished with 35 to 40 points. That is superstar production against a strong defensive team. Yet instead of allowing her to continue controlling the game, the coaching staff removed her from the floor in the middle of her offensive rhythm. Fans immediately questioned why a player who was completely unstoppable was suddenly benched while the rest of the team struggled badly. Once Clark left the court, the Fever offense completely collapsed. Ball movement slowed down, perimeter shooting disappeared, and Dallas quickly built momentum. The rigid preseason rotation became more important than maximizing the best player on the floor, and that decision changed the entire game. Criticism toward Stephanie White became even more intense because many people believed the situation was handled with poor judgment. Since this was only a preseason game and the Fever were already falling behind, many argued that Clark should have simply remained on the bench to avoid unnecessary injury risk. Instead, White sent her back onto the floor during the third quarter, and only moments later, the most terrifying play of the night happened. Dallas Wings defender Alana Smith stepped into Clark's landing zone while Clark was attempting a three-point shot. Clark landed awkwardly, twisted her ankle area, and immediately appeared uncomfortable. Basketball fans everywhere instantly became concerned because landing zone fouls are among the most dangerous plays in the sport. One wrong step can lead to ankle injuries, knee damage, or even season-ending problems. What made the situation even more explosive was that many viewers believed the contact looked reckless and unnecessary. Social media erupted immediately, with some fans calling it a dirty play and others demanding stricter punishment for dangerous closeouts. The reason this moment felt so massive is because Caitlin Clark is no longer just a rookie basketball player. She has become one of the central faces of the entire WNBA. Television ratings, sold-out arenas, ticket prices, merchandise sales, and media attention have all exploded since her arrival in the league. That means every injury scare involving Clark becomes a league-wide concern. If she were to miss significant time, the impact would extend far beyond one franchise. That is why many fans became furious at the coaching staff for allowing her to return to the floor during a meaningless preseason game that was already slipping away. The fear was not simply about losing one game, it was about risking the health of the player carrying the league's momentum. Another major issue exposed during this game was the lack of physical protection and emotional response from Clark's teammates. After the hard foul and injury scare, many fans expected someone from Indiana's roster to immediately step up and defend their franchise player emotionally or physically. Instead, the response felt passive. Veteran players who were expected to bring toughness and leadership failed to make a noticeable impact. Sophie Cunningham, who was heavily discussed as a veteran presence and enforcer-type personality, finished scoreless with 0 field goal attempts in 14 minutes. She had little offensive impact and did not provide the emotional spark many expected after the foul incident. That added even more frustration among Fever fans who believe Clark is being targeted physically while not receiving enough support from her teammates. The supporting cast overall had a disastrous performance offensively. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the team's highest-paid veteran scorers, struggled badly. She shot only 4 of 12 from the field, scored just 10 points, and finished with a brutal -18 plus-minus rating, the worst on the team. Other players also struggled heavily from the perimeter. The Fever roster outside of Clark shot terribly from three-point range, creating major spacing problems for the offense. Without reliable shooting around her, Clark constantly faced packed defensive coverage. Dallas recognized quickly that Indiana's role players were missing open shots, so they collapsed into the paint and focused almost entirely on stopping Clark's drives and transition attacks. It became obvious how dependent the Fever offense currently is on Clark generating everything herself. The absence of key rotation players also exposed a serious depth issue for Indiana. Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Natasha Howard were unavailable, and their absence changed the entire structure of the team. Without Boston's elite screening and interior presence, Clark had less space to operate in pick-and-roll situations. Without Lexi Hull's perimeter spacing and defensive versatility, Indiana lost balance on both ends of the floor. The offense became predictable, and Dallas took full advantage. This game showed how thin the Fever roster can look when even a few important pieces are unavailable. It also raised concerns about whether the team has enough depth to compete consistently against elite opponents throughout a full season. One bright spot outside of Clark was rookie Raven Johnson. Defensively, Johnson looked impressive, recording 5 assists and 5 steals while bringing strong energy on the perimeter. Her ability to pressure opposing guards and create turnovers stood out immediately. However, offensively, she still appears limited as a scorer and perimeter shooter. Defenses are willing to leave her open, which creates spacing concerns when she shares the floor with non-shooters. While her defense could make her a valuable role player, this game showed that she is not yet ready to become a consistent offensive contributor at the professional level. The larger concern for Indiana moving forward is timing. The regular season is approaching rapidly, and the Fever still do not look fully prepared. Their chemistry remains incomplete, several key players are still unavailable, and the roster has not had enough time together before meaningful games begin. What makes this even more dramatic is that the Fever will face the Dallas Wings again on opening night in a nationally televised matchup. That means the same problems exposed in this preseason loss could immediately become a national storyline once the games start counting for real. At the center of everything remains Caitlin Clark. Despite the loss, despite the coaching controversy, despite the injury scare, and despite the poor performances around her, she still looked like the best player on the floor by a huge margin. Her shooting efficiency, pace control, vision, transition dominance, and ability to create offense under pressure all looked elite. This performance reminded everyone why expectations around her are so enormous. She has the ability to completely transform a franchise and potentially become the face of an entire league. But this game also proved that talent alone is not enough. If Indiana wants to become a true championship contender, the organization must build a healthier, deeper, and more disciplined system around her. The Fever now face enormous pressure before the regular season begins. The coaching staff must make smarter rotation decisions. The supporting cast must shoot more consistently. The veterans must provide leadership and physical protection. And most importantly, the team must get healthy quickly. Because if the same issues appear again when the regular season starts, the Fever risk wasting another spectacular Caitlin Clark performance in a game where she once again looked capable of carrying an entire arena by herself.